Fans have responded strongly to Sister Wives star Kody Brown's heated exchange with his daughter Aurora's boyfriend, Brody Utley, on the most recent episode. Viewers are split and shocked by the Brown patriarch's unconventional approach to courting. When they first met, Kody, who is now monogamous with Robyn, his fourth wife, confronted Brody and unexpectedly lectured him on self-control and chastity. When the 18-year-old father compared dating to kissing another man's wife, he went beyond his protective nature. Was it just a father's method of establishing limits, or did his message go too far? To learn what happened in the most recent Sister Wives episode, continue reading. Robyn talked candidly about her background in the September 28 show, stating that she had always dreamed of leading a multiple lifestyle rather than a monogamous marriage. Sister Wives actress Robyn disclosed, "I received marriage proposals. I'd marry you in a heartbeat," remarked various guys at various points in time. However, "I consistently informed them that I intended to live in multiple marriages." Her circumstances have significantly changed since then. Kody has stopped engaging in polygamy. She acknowledged that a new dynamic has emerged in their relationship. "I would have told Kody the same thing if he had been unmarried when he came after me," Robyn remarked. But Kody appeared more torn about the change. He told Robyn, "It's you and me, baby," before confessing in a confessional that he was thinking about intimacy. He was honest when he said, "There's something I want maybe more than you do." When Kody Brown finally met his daughter Aurora's boyfriend, Brody Utley, in the October 26 episode of Sister Wives, the experience swiftly devolved into an unanticipated life lesson. The 56-year-old father made it apparent that he had strong views about physical limits and dating. Kody told Brody, "I tell these young men that it's almost always your responsibility to protect my daughter, even from yourself. You kiss the wife of another man until she becomes your wife when you're just dating. You're kissing another man's wife if she doesn't end up becoming your wife." Both Aurora and Brody were rendered incoherent by Kody's remarks. The young man was calm in the face of the situation. Later on, Aurora acknowledged that she thought her father's speech was funny. Brody seemed unfazed, even bringing up his cowboy heritage and mixed martial arts skills. But for Kody, the lesson went beyond discipline. It was a reflection of his strong convictions about chastity and emotional control. He stated of Robyn, "If you love my daughter, you'll love her as much as I loved her mother, and I kept my hands off her until we were married." Some admirers critiqued Kody's antiquated beliefs, while others praise his protective demeanor. Baskets of gifts, nevertheless, his comments demonstrated how much his perspective on commitment and love has changed since his polygamous days. A change that still surprises Sister Wives watchers every week. For the most recent Sister Wives news, Kody Brown, the patriarch of a vast poly family that captivated America, was the proud husband of 4 women, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, when Sister Wives debuted in 2010. However, over 10 years later, the man who was once renowned for his self-assured smile and chaotic home is now alone in a home designed for many. Kody now acknowledges that even the thought of dating again feels strange and dishonorable as he finally talks about life after tragedy. "It would feel like kissing another man's wife," he said in his own eerie terms. The individual who previously adopted eternal polygamy, Kody Brown, advocated an eternal family and spiritual marriage for many years. He thought that devotion could grow, that love could span 4 spouses and 18 children, and that love wasn't meant to be limited to just one person. He considered himself to be a spiritual leader who had been called to embody the plural marriage principle. However, the idyllic ideal gradually descended into worldly disaster after appearing on TLC screens. The ideal of perpetual harmony was shattered when Christine abandoned him first. After years of emotional detachment, Janelle finally spoke up for herself. Long estranged, Meri trailed silently behind. The only surviving partner, and his favorite wife, Robyn, was left to pick up the shards of a family that used to define them all. Now that he only has one marriage, the man who once advocated for love to be shared equally among many finds it impossible to envision ever opening his heart to anyone again. The disclosure that startled spectators. Kody sat across from host Sukanya Krishnan on a recent episode of Sister Wives. One-on-one, his hands clutched tightly, his voice faltering as he attempted to describe how weird dating seems to him. While looking down at his hands, Kody remarked, "People ask if I'd ever date again. But to be honest, the idea sickens me. Something feels off. As if I were kissing the wife of another man. Because, in God's sight, every woman already belongs to someone, whether it be spiritually or emotionally. I can't fathom going into it." It was an astonishing admission. Kody, who used to manage several marriages with an almost startling ease, now appeared to be immobilized by the idea of intimacy itself. His internal struggle between his religious upbringing and the fact that he is a guy whose spiritual world has fallen apart was evident to the audience. Religion, guilt, and the polygamous shadow. Kody's remarks were not unexpected. Rather, they are rooted in decades of teaching, belief, and emotional muddle. Kody was brought up in a fundamentalist religion that revered multiple marriages and taught him that all relationships must fulfill God's will. He saw dating as covenantal and never casual. But more than just heartache was left behind when those commitments were broken. They left behind spiritual guilt. When you've been married for 30 years, spiritually married to multiple people, it's not just about losing your wives. Kody acknowledged in the same interview. You become less of who you are. Additionally, attempting to start afresh feels like a betrayal of your lifelong beliefs. Kody finds it almost impossible to envision dating as a normal man because of this conviction that connection must always have permanent value. Kody is still emotionally trapped in a cycle of remorse and longing, even if his ex-wives have started to move on and even consider falling in love again. The freedom of Christine vis the fear of Kody. After her well-known breakup with Kody in 2021, Christine Brown has since fallen in love with her now husband, David Woolley. Sister wives documented their wonderful engagement and wedding, which fans hailed as a long-overdue happy ending. Christine has expressed openly how freeing it was to end a relationship in which she felt invisible all the time. She said to the cameras, "I didn't just leave Kody. I left a life that no longer brought me happiness." Her recent marriage contrasts sharply with Kody's dejection. Kody seems troubled, unsure, and profoundly anxious about his own value, whereas Christine exudes confidence and affection. It is painfully ironic that Kody, who was previously the center of attention, is now the outsider witnessing his ex-wife's success without him. Kody's response to the question of how he felt about Christine's new life was ambivalent. He paused after saying softly, "I'm happy for her. But when you're still trying to figure out what went wrong, it's difficult to see someone go on. I can't just go out with someone fresh to make up for it. I'm not like that. I would feel as though I was betraying all of my beliefs." The tense relationship with Robyn, even that relationship has been extremely strained, and Robyn Brown is still the only wife left. Even though Robyn has frequently been referred to by Kody as his true love, their marriage has become secluded, encircled by bitterness and the ghosts of the past. Robyn has sadly acknowledged in confessionals that she never desired this life, being the only wife in a plural marriage. "I had faith in the family," she remarked. "I never committed to monogamy. I didn't want to be responsible for the dissolution of the other marriages." Even Robyn seemed to find it difficult to connect with Kody these days as he withdraws emotionally and spiritually. She remarked, "He's broken and angry. He talks about dating as if it were a sin, but in reality, he's afraid of falling in love again." A solemn retrospection of the past. In the most recent season of Sister Wives, Kody's loneliness has emerged as a major plot point. His voice reverberated through corridors that previously echoed with the laughing of children and the conversation of sister wives over meals as viewers watched him meander through vacant rooms. In a particularly moving sequence, Kody strolls around the Flagstaff property and gazes out over the desolate area that was meant to become Coyote Pass, the wives' ideal home. He murmurs, "This was meant to be for all of us," as he surveys the empty room. For our future. The future never materialized. Rather, it became a tangible representation of emotional detachment and a reminder of unfulfilled promises. And now, Kody's remarks about dating are tinged with both pride and anguish. He feels both pride in his faith and sorrow that it has caused him to become so alone. Fans' reactions, karma or sympathy. Sister Wives viewers have differing opinions about Kody's most recent admission. After years of avoiding responsibility, some interpret it as an indication that he is now facing his feelings. Others refer to it as karma, the fact that he now has to deal with the emptiness he once created after years of dominating his wives' lives and emotions. One spectator commented on social media, "He now understands what it's like to be emotionally abandoned. When Christine or Meri felt invisible, he didn't give a damn. However, now that he is the one abandoned, it is suddenly a spiritual tragedy." A more sympathetic viewpoint was provided by another fan. "I genuinely feel horrible for Kody. He is obviously lost. Being a spouse and parent in a multi-family was the foundation of his entire existence. Who is he without that?" Every new episode seems to be plagued by the same question. Who is Kody Brown now? The ego-hiding man Kody has always been a divisive personality. Some see him as conceited and domineering, while others see him as a man attempting to live an impossible life while being videotaped for reality television. Recent interviews, however, have exposed a man unraveling beneath the bluster, a believer who is unsure of what to believe, and a husband who no longer has a family to support. There is more to his comparison of dating to kissing another man's wife than just morality. It has to do with identity. It concerns a man who is unable to distinguish between his past and present, his religion and his emotions. Despite acknowledging his loneliness, he is unable to let go. Kody muttered, "I just don't see how I could ever start over." It's not as simple as turning a switch. Love doesn't simply vanish. They remain in your heart even after they are gone. The prospects for Sister Wives viewers should anticipate seeing Kody struggle with these opposing feelings as Sister Wives progresses. Guilt versus growth, faith versus freedom. According to TLC insiders, Kody's attempts to mend his relationship with some of his adult children, and perhaps even therapy sessions to cope with the fallout from so many breakups, would be covered in future episodes. However, Kody appears to be adamant about romance. He isn't ready to date again, and he might never be. He insists, "I made vows before God. Those pledges still hold significance for me, even if the marriages didn't work out." You can't simply substitute another date, another kiss, or another woman for that. Kody Brown is currently torn between his former life as a multiple spouse and his current life as a lone guy. A concluding thought: Kody's revelation, in many respects, speaks more about the frailty of faith than it does about love per se. He centered his life on spiritual unity because he thought it would continue forever. Now that he has lost that, he can no longer trust the basic act of human connection. He referred to it as kissing another man's wife. But it's possible that he was actually kissing a different version of himself, the person who thought love could overcome all obstacles, including the heartache of 4 failed marriages. One thing is certain: as Sister Wives continues its emotional journey, Kody Brown is no longer the self-assured patriarch of the past. Choices, religion, and the ghosts of the women who once called him husband haunt him as a man. Additionally, Kody is the only character in a story that started with family and finished in solitary, serving as a reminder that even in a home full of women, one can still feel completely alone, even though his ex-wives had found love, serenity, and rejuvenation.